Welcome to Master the Game. I am Juce. And tonight we're going to talk about tabletop RPGs, like we always do. I know normally I do not do these chats on a Sunday night. Was doing them around noon on Sundays for a while. Meant to do that today, but we had a lot of stuff going on. Picked up our children from the in-laws and things like that. So doing it tonight instead. Was going to try and play some Dragon Age Origins on stream. I'm probably going to put that off until tomorrow night. But we got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm going to talk about it all tonight. I'm going to talk about some topics that have been going on in the TikTok D&D space. I'm going to be talking about some upcoming interviews on the channel. Going to talk about some a one-shot coming up. Coming up. Going to talk about our campaigns. We had a game last night, Tyranny of Dragons, that I would like to talk about. Probably going to talk about this big stack of books I got to get to and review a bunch of stuff. And more. So maybe we'll do some world building, answer some questions from the chat. So if you guys want to get your questions in, I will do my best to answer them. If you're watching the replay of this and you have a question, post it in the comments. I will add it to my doc. I have a Google Doc with topics to discuss, and I could always talk about it on a future episode. So if that sounds interesting to you, again, post it in the comments, and we will talk about it in a future episode. I know these things are a little more sporadic. They're not necessarily planned out in advance, but I like going live and just hanging out with you guys every once in a while. So with that, one of the things that I've been considering doing recently is getting back to crafting some terrain. I would like to do more terrain just because I need some. I've only got a few things, and having at least the basics to cover pretty much any type of game I want to run or play at my table would be ideal. So I might even, when doing this in the future, just pop on the camera, do it on a live stream, and just hang out and talk and stuff like that. I also want to do some more mini painting. My wife usually does the mini painting on this channel, and I usually just hang out and create tables, random roll tables that we give to our patrons. So if you want to get access to all of our random roll tables, all you have to do is become a $1 patron or higher, and you will have access to that. Speaking of patrons, we have a $40 tier for if you basically running a game for anybody who wants to buy into that tier. There are currently 6 positions available. So if you end up wanting to play a game, we will figure out scheduling and all of that. I will give you guys options whether you want me to run my homebrew world, which would probably be ideal, or if you want me to run a pre-published module, I'll run that as well. Most likely D&D 5e, but there are some other systems I'm willing to run if everybody wants me to. So yeah, bought a new shirt. I'm really excited about it, Ninja Turtles. I just thought it was a really cool shirt. So anyways, so I'm going to start off with some TikTok stuff. So there is, and I'm not going to name any names, but there's a girl on TikTok, over 1 million followers, by the way, who said that Critical Role stole her Opal character from her, basically. And apparently she had talked to their legal team and all of this crazy stuff. And even she said she just wanted either recognition on Critical Role for them taking her character, or to play in the game on Critical Role. Now, people are crucifying her, so I don't need to do that too much. But people are saying she's clout chasing. Of course, she would attack the one POC on the stream, who made this character. All sorts of stuff. And it came out that she's stolen a bunch of artists' artwork that she's been using to promote her stuff all over the place. She uses character art that she steals from places and promotes the hell out of her stuff with it. And it sounds like she's making money off of it. Anyways, so when she did the apology, she's done multiple apology videos. She did an apology video stating that she was going to continue to use the art because artists shouldn't put their art online if they don't want other people to use it for free. She also proceeded to say if an artist doesn't want her to use their art, they need to contact her and let her know, and then she will remove it. Like, what? Like, that is so wrong on so many levels. But it led to some other discussions. In part of the issue too is that nobody knew that her character also was a person of color, a white woman playing a POC character. And so that spurred a separate conversation that has gotten some traction and been pretty controversial, right? With people saying, well, and I didn't catch this. I had seen one person's response video on TikTok stating that a white person should never play a POC. And when I saw that, I did a video myself just asking why. I did not think it was going to become a big conversation on TikTok. I didn't start the conversation. Apparently other people were talking about it. So I had just said why, I'm typically the DM. I said, as a player, I would never play a POC. I probably would never play anything that I don't identify with on some level. And, because I even personally think it's weird when men role play as women in games. We have a couple players on my channel who do that. No big deal. But yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's just at first it was a little weird to me. But yeah, so then, so I just asked why, and the answers I got varied. Some people said it was fine. Some people said it wasn't. Had some African American people say it was fine. I had a Native American say it was fine. But in viewing other videos, it seems like the vast majority of POC do not think it's fine to play a POC as a white person as a player. I think almost every single one, in fact, every single video I have seen from those same people, like Barnaby and Blackthorn Apothecary said something about it too, which he's going to be in my Descent into Avernus game. He's playing a kobold on that, which I'm really excited to play with him. Have said that it's okay for somebody running a game to portray these characters, but again, be very careful not to be offensive, not to play stereotypes, and things like that. So, which I think goes without saying, to be honest, but obviously don't, play up stereotypes of races or sexualities or any of that. Don't be one dimensional. You're probably going to offend somebody. So yeah, I don't have a strong feeling on this. Like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I want to play it. Like, to me, it's not for me anyway. I would never do that. But I just posed the question because as somebody who runs a lot of games, if I had somebody come to my table and want to play a POC character, then I wanted to know why, how to explain that to them so that I could say, look, it's banned at my table or it's not. You know what I mean? So that's all. So that's why I did my video. But it is what it is. So I see the people's perspective. I get it. And I will not be allowing white people to play a POC at my table. It's just that simple. If they are dead set on it, don't. Not in my games. Or just don't even tell me what the skin color is. Don't tell anybody what the skin color is. And in your head, if you want to envision it how you want, I can't be the thought police, But yeah, so with that was the big topic this last couple weeks. Those are the two topics that have kind of happened. We've had so many things over there on TikTok that, obviously there's the normal discussions, which I love. I love talking about mechanics. I love talking about stories from our games. That stuff is really interesting to me. When it comes to the more dramatic things, like we had a guy not early on, but about a month and a half ago, who was doing videos about metagaming being fine and everybody should metagame. And as you play the game more, you'll learn to metagame more and you'll be a better player. And he really ticked a lot of people off because he definitely went into being condescending and just an outright terrible person. And even players from his games kind of came out or who had played with him and said, yeah, he is every bit as bad, if not worse, than what he says in his videos. Anyways, I believe either I was blocked or he changed his username. I don't know. I don't pay attention. I didn't do any video responses to him. I did do a metagaming video because I'm in the middle on metagaming. But and we'll discuss that in a minute. But then there was that. There was another controversial topic right after that because it was like metagaming and then it was something else. The other thing that's been kind of going on a lot is there's a camp of people on TikTok that talk about tabletop RPGs and talk about, and I agree with a lot of what they say. I don't agree with how they say it and how they go about promoting it. But a lot of people on TikTok think you should try games other than Dungeons and Dragons. And I agree, but if you don't want to, then don't. Who cares? It's up to you what you want to do and don't want to do. And who am I to tell you how to invest your time and money and energy? That's not for me to decide. That's for you. But the way they're going about it over there is a lot of them have, rather than telling you what games play a certain way and how they work and whatever, they were saying D&D doesn't do, for example, D&D does not do narrative games well. You should be trying a game like Powered by the Apocalypse, or you should be trying a game like Fate, or, whatever. But they also would not explain why that did it better. But either way, I don't even think if you're trying to promote another system that you should even mention D&D in the same sentence. That's silly to me. If I'm trying to promote hockey being a fast-paced sport, I'm not going to bring up football in the same discussion. I'm going to literally tell you why hockey is awesome. I'm going to tell you how it's fast-paced. Players are, going back and forth constantly. Even when they go to switch out with other players, the play doesn't stop. They just go to the side. They switch with the guy comes in. They go full bore and fast, and it's back and forth, back and forth. And if you're somebody who wants something that's fast-paced and back and forth, that might be more interesting to you than hearing them say, well, football doesn't do fast-paced real well because every 5 seconds they're stopping play. Great. Telling someone why football shouldn't be their favorite sport and that hockey should be doesn't help. So again, that's a whole nother nuanced discussion. But, that was one of those things. And while I am somebody who is for trying new games, and I do try new games myself, I understand that not everybody's into that. And there were even people saying, well, the cost of entry into new games isn't that bad. You can either get the games for free. A lot of games are much cheaper than D&D and so on and so forth. And sure. I mean, you guys know, I play the Age System by Green Ronin. It's one of the easiest games I feel like to just pick up and play and get into it by just going through the book a little bit. I don't think you need to read the book cover to cover. I think the Call of Cthulhu, like right here, I got the starter set, which I will be going over this week on a video. But I think Call of Cthulhu right here is a fantastic, easy system, and you can use the basis of that system for pretty much anything you want. It doesn't have to even be an Eldritch horror game. You could take that foundation and play pretty much any kind of game you want. If you want to play fantasy with that base rule set, you technically could. If you wanted to play something more like just a modern feel game, you could. If you want to play cops and robbers with it, you could. Like, you could do a lot of stuff with a percentile based system and the skills that it presents and have a good time. And you could do the same thing with D&D, and you can do other stuff. All of it, if you're trying to play something outside of it, requires some tweaking. And if you're familiar with the system and you want to, try to mold it into the type of game you want at your table, then go for it. There are many games out there that might do what you want better, but you're never going to know without trying it. But it's sometimes hard to find that system that does what you want. So I'm all for jumping in and trying new stuff. But yeah, so again, I think there's just a lot to that. Now, we've got a lot of stuff going on this week. We have a one-shot on Friday. I'm so excited about this. Lay Top Hat, a TikTok user, had a goal. I believe it was his 500 follower goal on TikTok, and he was going to run a stream. I had reached out to him and said, hey, have you ever run a stream before? Would you like some help? Would you want somebody to like guide you through it, maybe teach you the ins and outs, things like that? And he said, yeah, sure, that sounds awesome. And so I offered to host it so he didn't have to worry about it. I plan on going over some things with him, I've already sent his Discord. I've sent the tutorials I used originally to get into streaming. And so, maybe he'll take me up on that and go look at those. And obviously I'm going to offer him some help. And again, if there's anybody out there, if you are thinking about doing a stream and you need help with something, feel free to ask. I'm always here to help for the community and help it grow and thrive. It's a big deal to me. So that will be on Friday night this week. I'm pretty excited about it. Game will start at, I believe, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested in watching that, it's going to be a level 15 game. They're going to have magic items. They're going to be in hell fighting, various things. And I think there's 3 stages that they have to go through in that game. So it's going to be pretty awesome, I think. We also have a couple interviews coming up. The RPG creator will be on this Thursday, I believe. Yes, this Thursday at 8 p.m. till 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk to him about his game. I believe it just went to Kickstarter, and we're going to find out about the mechanics, what kind of game it is, what kind of setting that it is or that it works for, all that good stuff. What inspired him to come up with this? Why he made this game? What hole in the hobby he thinks it fills? All sorts of stuff like that. And we're just going to talk about RPGs and gaming in general. So it's going to be a good time. If you guys were following my channel last year, I interviewed a bunch of designers, writers, game company owners. Like, I interviewed a bunch of people in the same format, about an hour, dice creators, voice actors. We talked to all sorts of people. So again, if you want to check that out, that'll be Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern until 9 p.m. Eastern. We also will be talking to a few people from Nord Games. They have a Kickstarter going on for the Necropolis, I believe. And they're going to be on to discuss that. We're going to talk about some of the other things that they have worked on in the past, what got them into, designing games, some of the same stuff we usually ask, but in general, just talk about tabletop RPGs and all that good stuff. It should be a lot of fun. That, I believe we're going for August 9th, Monday, August 9th. And that, or it might be this Wednesday, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be August 9th. I'd like to, have my interviews spaced out a little bit rather than being just right up on each other. So yeah, again, we've got some awesome stuff going on. Been playing games with my kids. Looking forward to doing more of that. There is a possibility I will stream the games with my 10-year-old daughter and my 6-year-old son. We might stream it. They want to. My kids are dying to stream it. So it's possible we might do that. It won't be for the audience. It'll just be for them, because they want to. And who knows, down the line, 5-10 years from now, if they want to go back and watch it and laugh about it, they will have something to look at. So, it's kind of cool, I think. So yeah. But I'm going to talk about my Tyranny of Dragons game last night here in a second. So our Tyranny of Dragons game last night, this is the game that last month when we played, one of the characters went full evil. So his alignment was evil, and he decided to attack a merchant. So the party had saved a merchant by basically coming up to... all right, let me rewind again. We're playing Tyranny of Dragons. I've made some adjustments to Tyranny of Dragons. Basically, the stuff after the Raider camp until Baldur's Gate, I've gone off book. And the reason is because I'm running this campaign alongside the Descent to Avernus campaign. And I have a player that's in both of those games, so I just thought this would add to the fun. Now, they met up with Antharr Froom and Leosin in Greenest at the tavern to discuss the Cults of the Dragon. The players then were given a bunch of supplies, things like that, a wagon, and they started traveling, and they ran into bandits on the road just outside of El Terrell in the forest. They killed off the bandits. However, they noticed a bunch of wagons had been turned over except for one, and a bunch of bodies. One of the people there was still alive because he had a periaptive wound closure. All the other people he was traveling with were dead. Now, the bandits didn't get a chance to raid all the carts or anything because the players came up on them before they had that chance. Otherwise, the bandits would have been using a bunch of magic items. Now, that one merchant who survived was the guy transporting a bunch of magic items. And by a bunch, I mean like 5 or 6. It wasn't a ton. So he had offered the party. It wasn't even like the party asked. He offered the party, said, hey, if you guys can help me get to Baldur's Gate, I will give you free of charge a magic item. And if you want to buy magic items from me, I will happily sell some to you. So then, he listed off his prices and stuff. The one player didn't like that he was trying to negotiate with them. And so the player attacked him. He did I don't remember what spell it was, but it does psychic energy, or psychic damage. And yeah. So in other words, he was about to kill the NPC until the paladin in the party attacked the other player in the party. So then we had PvP. So I let the PvP go on. They were the only two doing it. Everyone else just stood back. And then the party decided they were just going to leave while this combat was going on. And the one party character who went all evil decided to start attacking the wagon that the party was in because the paladin had gotten in there. And so I decided after 2 rounds of that, the warlock player, the evil character now became an NPC, and he had to roll up a new character. Because there was no way that the party was now going to travel with that guy. So now I have this new NPC villain that is a former PC. And we are using this character. Well, I am using this character. I had him show up in last night's session already. The new player is playing a changeling that's named Annabelle. So I started joking that it was the Annabelle doll, and it's kind of stuck so far. So anyways, they were attacked by a froghemoth. Because El Terrell is a crater, there's still a boathouse there. They got on the boat to go into Baldur's Gate, and while on the river, I had a froghemoth attack all of them. And while it was attacking them, they fought it off, won, all that good stuff. You can go watch this, by the way, if you're interested. And I had them then camp, and then the next day, they're going down the river, and before we ended the session, because they also had like an encounter with some fish. They had a lot of role play with this new character. And right before we ended the session, I said one of the characters looks up and in the woods between some trees sees Crank, the former party member. He blinks though, and that character is gone. And we ended the session right there. So like he saw the former player character, and now it's gone. And so yes, Crank is going to be a reoccurring bad guy. And it's going to be awesome. And I can't wait to go off book at times because I think, and I can tell the players are far more invested in him being the bad guy than the Cults of the Dragon or stopping Tiamat or any of that stuff. So it's really awesome. I'm really excited about it. Now, this next Saturday, on the 31st, we have our Black Rock Adventurers game. That is a homebrew campaign where I am running a small module called Under the Tavern by DMG Info, or Gareth. He also does the Quest Givers channel with DM Scotty. And let's see, I'm trying to find it real quick. Here it is. Black Rock Adventures. So he runs the Quest Givers channel with DM Scotty. So This module is over on his website. It's called Under the Tavern. Okay. Really good. This is DMG info in case you've never seen him before. 7D System is also his channel. It's a game system he's created. But in this module, he's got maps that are made with terrain that he's crafted. And he's got write-ups for all the rooms and little map props and stuff. This is system neutral. It doesn't tell you any DCs. It doesn't tell you specific monsters. For example, it'll say something like... let me find some good examples. An empty potion bottle. Coins of low value, about the amount of an evening of light drinking. So it won't even tell you how much money. Won't tell you what's in some of the chests. So for example, it'll say if the players rummage around in the pile, they will find one mundane item, but no rope of any kind. It's very explicitly stating that. Now, I personally wrote my notes for what that mundane item was going to be on the side. So I printed this out, and then I filled in little things throughout and highlighted the read aloud text that I wanted to read aloud, or descriptions that I thought were important. It does have bolded text that you should read out loud, but I felt like other things also needed to be mentioned. So yeah, it's really good. Over here it says, they also discover an item sitting on the bottom of the channel they fall into. If the item is collected, they should be rewarded with a minor magical item, preferably jewelry. And so in this case, I said a ring of protection, which they didn't find, I don't believe. So again, it's a really cool module. I really like this. Can't recommend it enough. But yeah, so we're going to be playing that game on Saturday. They will continue this journey into the depths of Under the Tavern in Blackrock Village. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. By the way, you guys are curious how many games of D&D I've played and ran. This is my folder of D&D 5e characters I have played. Now, I've played most of these characters in one-shots, campaigns, so on and so forth. I even have, for the player, or for the guy's game that I played in, I've got his house rules right here. I even have D&D Next playtest characters in here. So the half-elf paladin from the D&D Next playtest, I was playing that with a minstrel background. I had an elf ranger I played. What else did I play? Dwarf cleric, dragonborn sorcerer. Yeah, but so some of these are in the protective sleeves, others are not. So yeah, just a ton of characters here. Got some of them in protective sleeves right here, so you can see. Just tons of characters, various levels. I tried to organize it by level too. So like this front one is the level 1 character. Later on, got like some multi-class characters. I had a barbarian named Bar that was a 3rd level barbarian. Or right there, he's 3rd level. Did I have him at lower levels? I think I did. So yeah, just really cool. I recommend everyone keep their former characters. If a DM wants to rip up your character sheet after he kills you, don't let him. Get a folder, put it in, lock it away. All right, so there's that. There's the Blackrock. Let's get that put away. Let's get these things out of the way, off my table. So how are you guys doing tonight? If you're new here, would love to see you subscribe. Maybe drop us a like. Would greatly appreciate it. If you have questions, post them in the chat. I will happily answer them. We've already talked about the TikTok drama that's been going on and the previous dramas on TikTok. I will say this. So I saw a lot of comments today about D&D TikTok drama and how much they hate D&D TikTok drama, or hate people TikTok D&D because of the drama. And I've seen people say stuff like this about Twitter, about, oh, it's so toxic, and, you know, so on and so forth. And I can tell you, it is not D&D specific. It is not Tabletop RPG specific. This is social media. This is anytime you get thousands, millions of people on a social media platform discussing topics that there is no one right or wrong way to play it or do it. Okay? This is everywhere. This is in sports. I'm a huge sports fan. I'm in plenty of Facebook groups about sports. Video games. Same thing. Twitter is the same way with sports. Pretty much any community I'm part of has drama of some sort between some members. It's just a given. So this is not something exclusive to our hobby. And honestly, if you're having problems with the drama, it's fairly easy to avoid. Hey, what's up, O'Neill Flynn? Welcome, buddy. If you're having problems with there being too much drama, the answer is real simple. The way social media works is if you interact with that type of content, you're going to get more of that type of content. That's how the algorithm works. They believe the content you interact with keeps you on their platform. So if you're always interacting with political content, whether you agree with the content or disagree with it, the platform you're on will continue to give it to you. For example, on TikTok, when political stuff comes up, I mention to TikTok, I right click it and I say not interested, or I hit the ... and I say not interested in this type of content every time. My TikTok has dice making, it has D&D topics, it has some funny stuff, music stuff, but I have blocked out most of the politics. It doesn't happen anymore. And that's just by me letting the algorithm know I don't want it. I've done the same thing on Facebook. And for a while, I got caught up going down the political rabbit hole with Facebook. And I started right-clicking things that were political and going down and saying, not interested, basically. I don't remember what the exact terminology is. I don't get a ton of political stuff on Facebook anymore. And that's how I like it. Also, if you are in a Facebook group and you want to see more content from that group, go up to the settings tab of those groups, and you can say you want to follow that content. You can also say something like highlights of this group will notify you, and you'll get notifications. So then you can go and interact with that content and get more of that on your feed. That stuff works great. When it comes to Twitter, again, just don't interact with it. I don't think you can block it out. Maybe you can. I haven't tried. But for example, when I talk to one of my players in one of my games, he can't stand social media. One, he works in social media, so it's kind of something he has to deal with a little bit. But he follows two tags on Twitter, and that's TTRPG and D&D. And he gets so mad when drama comes up on those. But he used to interact with that, I feel like. And he knows how it works, but he still got caught up interacting with it. And again, if you don't interact with it, you won't see it. So interact with the type of content you want to see, and you will see more of that type of content. So that's the trick. When it comes to Discord, there's no way around that. Like, Discord is what it is. I love Discord. My channel is very open, I feel. I have people of various political affiliations in my community. I have, all sorts of stuff. But I want a welcoming, open community. That doesn't mean no talk about politics or anything like that. I'd prefer it not happen there. But if I think people get out of line, I will kick people from my Discord. So again, basically personal attacks, I won't accept. But my community is so supportive. We've got people over there who are dealing with depression, and they'll mention it, and others are, really warm and welcoming and pick them up, and things like that. And it's huge. So O'Neill Flynn says, I left a group on Facebook just because people were pushing political stuff and their indoctrinations. It wasn't about gaming anymore. That makes sense. Yeah, I get that. We don't always want political stuff put, in our face. But again, so here's the thing I will talk about too real quick. People got so mad that, D&D wanted to say all orcs weren't evil anymore. And people lost their mind, And it's the thing to remember is nobody's coming over to your house, kicking your door down, and telling you how to play games at your table. People might make suggestions, but you can these are just toolboxes. They're giving you a box of tools and saying, play games. They make recommendations with that. Heck, even half the tools in that toolbox are recommendations. You can take what you like and tweak it and make it how you want at your tables. So you don't have to abide by what's in Tasha's cauldron of everything or whatever. You don't have to follow that stuff. So if you don't like it, don't use it. So that's my take on that. But it's not worth getting all upset about, and I think a lot of people do that. So I don't get upset about it, but I also don't see it very much because I don't interact with it. So that's the trick. That's what I've found makes those spaces still very positive for me. That video I did, like I said, I did it before I saw any of the POC's opinions on it. And it was, I believe it was a white person who said that white people should never roleplay a POC character. So that's why I did my video. I've since seen other creators' videos, and like I said, I'm just gonna say at my tables, no white people can play POC characters. Obviously it's different for a DM. They cover everybody. I haven't quite made the jump that hetero cis males can't play women. I've thought about it, but I haven't. To me, it does take me out of the immersive experience a little bit. Especially since I have seen a lot of guys who do play female characters at the table play them very much like either a stereotype or like a dude if he was a woman. Does that make sense? Like over-sexualizing things. Not that there aren't women out there who are like this, but it's such a minority, so it is what it is. But I don't care what you guys do at your tables. At my tables, that's what it is. Now, I talked about last night's campaign game that was a lot of fun. We are going to be getting back to streaming some Dragon Age Origins probably tomorrow. I figured out what was wrong with my Xbox. It was the power supply. So it was turning off at random times. Like I would be playing a game. Sometimes it would last 3 hours. Other times it would last an hour. Finally, after 10 minutes into it, after we had done the thermal compound and everything, I was playing the game for 10 minutes and it shut off. 10 minutes. It wasn't even warm enough to, like, the Xbox didn't overheat, and that's when I knew. I was like, all right, it's got to be something else. And I decided to buy a power brick. And while this new power brick is really loud, it seems to work. It's got the trick. It's done the trick for me. So yeah, it's now working well. And we will be doing Dragon Age Origins on the channel. I don't remember how far I am in that. I'm not very far. I think I just left the first town after. So I'm a mage. I went through the Mage's Tower. I then did the Battle of Ostagar. I'm at that. I just left that town after that. And I can go anywhere I want. I think I was going to go to I think I went to the Brazilian Wilds, so to deal with the elves, or also known as Dalish in this game. So that's where I went. So if you want to watch that playlist before tomorrow night, I highly recommend it. We're going to be doing that. If you want to talk about D&D while I play the game, you can ask any questions you want. We do play a Dragon Age Tabletop RPG on this channel. I believe we have a game this Tuesday, actually. Let me double check that. Check my calendar. This Tuesday. Yes, this Tuesday we will be playing Dragon Age again. So that's going to be awesome. And I'm having a lot of fun with that. I'm playing a noble from Ferelden in that game, by the way. But yeah, it's been great. I really am into the Dragon Age setting and the video games, and so playing the tabletop RPG is awesome. Playing the video game is making it easier to play the tabletop RPG because it puts me in that mode of remembering things about the setting. We're playing through the Dalish Curse in the tabletop RPG on Tuesdays. And that system, I have it right here. It is a 3d6 system. One die is a stunt die. You're going to roll 3d6, beat a target number. If you roll doubles, the stunt die gives you points to spend on an additional things, whether you want to do extra damage in combat or an extra attack. If it's a social encounter, you might improve someone's impression of you and things like that. If it's an exploration role, then you might be able to put yourself in an advantageous position in case things happen. You might be able to uncover a clue about something. So the stunt die is a huge aspect of that system. The fact that it's just 3d6, beat a target number, is super easy to just jump in and play. It's so good. It's a really good system. They also make Blue Rose, which we stream that. Right now we play that with one of the designers or developers, I should say. We also play with my friend Aaron on Twitter, and we're doing giveaways for both Dragon Age and Blue Rose on the channel. So if you want a chance to win those, we have some bundles for each that we're doing giveaways for. And like I said, it's a great game. The Blue Rose giveaways also include dice. Some beautiful, beautiful Blue Rose dice. So yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, so we're going to be doing some of the Dragon Age Origins. I also think it would be really cool to get back into playing Skyrim again. Now, I never beat it before. When I played it before, I ended up playing a great weapon character. That's what I found I liked early on, and I just started running around and hitting things with great weapons. I was just starting to dabble with magic at about 100. I think I started messing with magic at about 170 hours into the game. And I think I only played it to like 180, 190 hours. And, magic was something that I probably should have put more time into early on, and I might do that this time. I'm not sure. I'm playing a mage in my Dragon Age Origins game, and I don't normally play mages in video games. Also was talking to some buddies. They would like to see me play the original Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2. So I might do that. There's a lot of games I plan on playing. So we'll see what happens. But I'll either do more of these, or if I'm not feeling like sitting here and just talking to the camera, I might just play some video games in place of it and still talk about RPGs. I just love hanging out with you guys. This is kind of my way to be social without being social. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of an introvert. Not that you would know that, but I'm kind of an introvert, so this is a good way for me to be social. But yeah, and we're probably going to do more interviews with more developers. If there's somebody in particular that you want me to talk to, maybe it's a TikTok creator, maybe it's a designer, maybe it's a streamer, maybe it's a YouTuber, let me know. And maybe I will bring somebody on to talk about RPGs and ask them the hard-hitting questions, I need to get back to Skyrim myself. So, they have an MMO now too, like a console MMO, I believe. Is it Elder Scrolls Online or something like that? I need to check that out too. I feel like I've seen some trailers for it and it looked awesome. Maybe I'll try and see if I can watch somebody's stream of it, and maybe I'll try that too. There's so many games I want to play, and there's just a lot of cool games. I want to play Divinity Original Sin 2. I heard that's an awesome game. I've never played that or the first one. There's so much. Fable 1, 2, and 3 are on the Xbox Game Pass. Would love to play those. So, yeah, Elder Scrolls Online. Mm-hmm. I need to look into it. That would be a lot of fun. But yeah, there's a ton of games I want to get into playing. Now, I had somebody comment on my last Pathfinder 2nd Edition game that we were playing. It was Fall of Plaguestone. I've got a bunch of Pathfinder stuff up here. I don't know if you can see it. It's too high. I've also got a stack of Pathfinder stuff over here that I need to read still. I've got some Starfinder stuff. I've never played Starfinder. I don't have the core book. I have some products that have been sent to me from Paizo that I would like to look at a little more. So I've got this one. I've got some that were free RPG Day stuff that I went and got a few years ago. We're No Heroes, which looks awesome. The Alien Archive 4. So I want to get into those a little bit. Maybe I'll just do flip throughs because I don't think I'm the best one for Starfinder reviews. I haven't played it. I would like to. I haven't. I was invited to Dead Aussie Gamers game a while back on Sundays. I turned it down. But yeah, maybe I'll reach out to him about playing in his game and give it a shot and then try some of these things out. I mean, this is a resource for DMs. You know, this is a Galaxy Exploration Manual. It sounds like you can create planets and stuff on the go. Maybe different ships and stuff. So, ooh, really cool artwork. Look at that. Pow! So, lots of cool stuff. Thoughts on Savage Worlds Pathfinder. Saw that on drive-thru. So, I have thoughts on Savage Worlds, and I have thoughts on Pathfinder. I am somebody, I don't know if you can see it over here. Let me move my glitter boy. So over here, this shelf, half of it is Savage Worlds. I've got Savage Rifts. I've got, let's see, what else do I got here? I've got various things here. Hang on. So I have, obviously, the Fantasy Companion. I remember looking through this for ideas. I've got the Explorer's Edition. So the cool thing I will say, if it's $10 for the core rules. The core rules are fine. It's not it's whatever. It is what it is. It's almost 200 pages. But to me, it's like you're going to buy this, and then you're going to buy something like this to play along with it. Or maybe you want superheroes. Now, with that, you could use all three of these books. These two are $20 each. Maybe you want science fiction. It's also $20. So I feel like this is a more modular game system, personally. Now, I got into it because I had a friend who was running it here in town, and I decided to try it with him. We were playing in Shinetar. He was running that. He was friends with Sean Patrick Fannin, who had created the Shinetar setting in Savage Worlds. Sean Patrick Fannin also made Savage Rifts. Now, Savage Rifts wasn't a thing yet. This is shortly after Shinetar was a thing back in like 2014. And I played it. Creating my character was really fun. I was playing a lizard folk who had a bladed staff, and that was like his racial weapon, and so he was really good with it. And the idea was so cool to me. Like, I really liked it. But then getting into playing the system, I felt like while the system has some cool aspects to it, I feel it. Sorry, I'm really sweaty out here. I feel like there's too many gimmicks, and most people don't agree with me on this. So my opinion is my own, and I don't think a lot of people share my opinion of Savage Worlds. But to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, say you're getting into combat. Now, when you sit down to play your session, you're going to be given what are called bennies. They're tokens. It could be a poker chip, it could be marbles, whatever. And you get however many, there's some mechanics tied to it. There's however many that the person running the game wants to give you. I don't know the specifics, but you get a pool of those. And if you do something really good in RP or whatever, you'll get another Benny from the Game Master. In the game, when you come up to a combat situation, you will take a deck of cards. This deck of cards will be dealt out for initiative. So you will have a card that sits in front of you for initiative. And you start with the highest number, starting with jokers, I believe, then ace, king, queen, yada, yada, yada. And I don't remember which suit order, but yeah. If you have a joker, you get bonuses to all your rolls for that round. So it's like really cool to get a joker. That's like rolling a critical success on initiative or something and having a reward for that. But you're using a deck of cards. Now, you also are given a card, and this isn't for every game, but you'll be given a card that is like a boon. These cards might have a bonus to attack rolls or a bonus for whatever. Or very specifically might be a reroll, or I don't know. I don't remember what they were, but you get another card that's basically a boon that you can spend at the proper time. So you have bennies, you have a card that you can use at whatever time. You also have cards for initiative, and then you have dice to roll. Now, it was not a quick system in my opinion. I didn't just play with this one person though either. I played with multiple groups. That's the other thing I want to preface with. Now, and I don't want anyone to be discouraged from playing Savage Worlds. If you think you might be interested, give it a shot. I highly recommend it. Most people I've talked to who have played it love it. Okay, I just don't agree with their opinions. Now, in that combat, you will then say you're deciding to punch somebody. So you're gonna do I think it's a fighting or a brawl roll, and your rolls are based on the dice you have in that thing. So everything starts off as D4, D6, D8, whatever. It starts at one die type. It starts at the lowest. You can spend points to put certain things go up. You can also get edges and hindrances. Hindrances drop something, but when you have a hindrance, you get another edge, I believe. So you can have up to 2 edges and up to 2 hindrances, I think. But a hindrance could be a really bad thing. It could be like you lost your eye, you're missing an arm or a finger or whatever. It could be that your character has ADHD or whatever. It depends on the game, the specifics of that game. The edges give you bonuses to things. So like, for example, let's look at the Fantasy Companion. Let me look at where edges and hindrances are. Page 5. So professional edges, you might have a familiar. You might have artifact hunter, assassin, troubadour, knight. So these are your edges, right? Are those your edges? Yeah. Then there's racial edges like adaptable, barbaric blood, improved barbaric blood. Some of these require you to have a prerequisite. So for example, requirements of the improved barbaric blood would be a veteran, barbaric blood, and spirit has to be a D8. Again, it's on the surface, it's a cool system. So anyways, you might have your fighting brawl be a D4, whereas the next person might have a D8. So you can't just have a simple like, this is what you do when you decide to do a fighting brawl. It's going to be a different die roll depending on who you are. You know, so that can be confusing, I think, for some people. It wasn't confusing for me, but it wasn't what I was used to. Now, if you get hurt in combat, you're going to have negatives to your roll. So say I'm doing a fighting brawl, right? I have a D8 in fighting brawl, but because I'm a player character, I also roll a D6 along that D8. Roll both dice. If either one of them is the max type, and you don't add them, they're 2 separate numbers. You have to keep track of which is which. So say on the D8, I roll a 7. On the D6, I roll a 6. That 6 explodes. I now roll that D6 again, and I get a 2. I get to either choose the 7 from the D8 roll or the 8 from the D6 roll of 6 plus 2. The problem I see with this is if you explode both of them and stuff, sometimes it's hard to keep straight what you had with each one. And then you're thinking, okay, that's this. Now, the other aspect to this is not only do you have to beat target numbers, you want like what they call raises, I believe, which is increments of 4. And you want to be higher than things by so much, and it gives you additional things, like damage dealt or whatever. So like if you have, say the character is like I could be wrong on this. If you know Savage Worlds, correct me. But say they're like I don't know. Let me pull up a character sheet. Actually, yeah, that was the right page. Attributes, pace, parry. So toughness is 5 on this guy. So if your toughness, toughness is like the damage you can take before it counts as actual damage. So his parry is 5 also. So you have to roll above his parry to hit him. and above is toughness to hit him, right? So if you roll a 6, that's a 1 level of wound. If you go a 9 or higher, that's the second tier. That's one raise. But remember, you can explode dice infinitely. So you could go as high as you need to kill the guy. There's no hit points. You just have to be higher than their parry or toughness or whatever. And then that's how they get dropped. So it's just a little bit trickier in my opinion. But most people who like the system think it's a fast-paced game, that it flows well. I like it on the surface. I just think there's too many different things. And so trying to learn all these different mechanics that aren't consistent within each other, it's literally different system for initiative than it is for, this, than that. Like, if initiative was kind of like the skills, and it was a different die for whatever character you have, maybe this character is a D4 initiative, that one's D8 initiative. To me, that makes more sense. I'm cool with having bennies. I'm cool with having boon cards, like cards for boons. I think that adds a level of variety to each game, having the boons, especially since it's a random draw, random cards. And I think you only get one every session or every however many sessions. The leveling system, too, is not a level system. Every session you play, you get an experience, or 2 experience or something. Let me see if I can find the character sheet. So the character sheet, does it have it on here? It does. So on the bottom here is what you have, these circles. So as you play a session, you fill in a circle all the way up. Now, once you hit level 5, that bumps you up to the next tier. So I believe you go like beginner to novice, so on and so forth, all the way up. And that basically fulfills the the edges and prerequisites for certain things. I think it can be fun. And I had fun. But I feel like the system for me got in the way of the fun at times. I got $300 into Savage Rifts. Like $350 into Savage Rifts. I've got 10, 30, 50, $70 here. So $420 into it for a game I'm not really that into. Again, I think it can be a good game. I just don't think it's for me. So, maybe I'll do a TikTok on that too and talk about it some more. Which, if you're not following me over on TikTok, I don't know why. If you have TikTok, the app, go follow me. It's Master the Game RP on TikTok. I post all sorts of stuff. And it's 99% RPGs now. So it was a little bit of just screwing around with my kids and music early on for like a whole year before I started doing RPG stuff. So having a lot of fun, though, with the RPG stuff and meeting a lot of really cool people. So like I said, we got a one-shot on Friday with some of those awesome guys. And I believe there's a girl, too. One girl. So come check us out on Friday. It's going to be awesome. As for Pathfinder, not Savage Worlds Pathfinder, but Pathfinder. So I still think Pathfinder is really awesome. Pathfinder 2nd Edition is a cool game. I don't think GMing it is for me. I do think as a player, I would love it. I've played one session of it as a player. I had a blast. I would love to play a campaign of it, especially with the right group. I don't feel like I will run it again. And if I do, it would be something I'd run for my kids, or my family, but I don't think I would run it again just randomly online. There's a lot of elements to that system I really like. I love how they do resistances and vulnerabilities. I love how they do swarms. I really love character creation, where you really pick what you want. You're not just given, like if I choose, like in 5e, you choose a mountain dwarf, you get all the dwarf stuff and then the mountain dwarf stuff. You just get it. In Pathfinder, you get a couple things, but you have to pick something too. And then as you level, you get to pick more things. I like that. It makes each mountain dwarf feel unique. Even if you're both mountain dwarf fighters, they're completely different. I like that. I like how two people can pick the same exact class and have the same general idea for what they're doing, but based on the choices within the class, it's completely different. You know, you might want to make a really tanky fighter that's good at defense, but you still might take some offensive choices, and within those will feel different. Heck, even the defensive choices might be different. You know, maybe you're like, I want to be really good at defense in the sense that nobody's going to run past me or I'm going to opportunity attack them and be really good at that. Or you might say, I want to be really good at defense, but be really good with a shield. Or I want to be good at defense, but be better with my armor or, stuff like that. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. And the choices you make feel really meaningful for that. The issue that I've seen playing it, just from a general overview, is that there are clearly certain choices that are better than others when it comes to doing offensive firepower or defensive things, like to not get hurt as much. There are clearly some options that are better than others. And so some people will take things for the optimal reasons, and they feel pigeonholed into character types that wasn't really what they originally wanted to play. For DMs or GMs, sometimes you find that players spam the same sequence of moves over and over again, such as, say it's a swashbuckler with panache. They're going to do their panache to start the round, which is like might be a roll through or a somersault. They're then going to move, or they're going to move, panache, and then they're going to do their attack, and then they're going to, do their final blow or whatever it is that capitalizes on their panache. Gives them extra damage, and just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. You're gonna see players do that. Your classes that everybody can hit 3 times with all 3 of their actions, but they have penalties. But it makes sense to, especially if you're the fighter or whatever, to do things that are going to make it easier to hit in your second and third. Or you're going to combo 2 attacks from a ability choice so that your first 2 attacks don't together you attack. It does 2 hits at your first penalty. So if you didn't have a penalty, then there's just a straight roll plus your modifiers for both the attacks. But then your third attack is still the third attack penalty. So you're going to see that a lot more in a game like Pathfinder, because again, there are optimal choices. And a lot of people don't like that. They feel like it's repetitive. I personally think it's cool as a player. As a GM, it doesn't bother me. The thing I do when I've played it, and I was lucky to play with some good players, I want to hear people role play what that looks like. I want them to tell me, I want the flavor to it as well. The game has a lot of flavor in those choices. It'll say the flavor text too. It'll tell you how it looks a little bit. To me, that inspires some ideas for when I'm doing it. But I do still find that when you're playing a game like that and you have those kinds of options, you can do multiple things, players start thinking mechanically and they don't think narratively, and so they don't narrate what they're doing. And that's unfortunate. So yeah, I like Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I hope that helped. That was a really long-winded explanation, wasn't it? I hope that wasn't too bad. Let me get these put away. I'll just set it over here. That's fine. I'll put it away later. But yeah, Savage Worlds is fine. And then I would say Pathfinder 2nd Edition is fine. Again, neither of those are my favorite systems. And again, Savage Worlds is probably my least favorite system I own that I've played. So, like, I have Traveler, the starter set, and some of these, like, journal books. I've never played it. So I don't have an opinion on it. I tried to run original Pathfinder. I did not like original Pathfinder that much. I did like 5th edition when that came out, so I quit doing anything with that. Loved second edition by reading the books. I found that as a GM, trying to keep track of all the different moving parts was a little difficult, like the conditions and stuff. I do like AD&D. I do think there's some restrictive things within the system, but it's fun. I've never played 3.5 D&D. Edge of the Empire and all the Star Wars by Fantasy Flight Games. I really like that system as a player. Have not run it before, so I don't have an opinion on that yet, but I have all the starter sets, the Edge of the Empire book, and that's it. I'd like to get more of those books. And then obviously D&D 5e. I am a huge D&D 5e fan. It is, to me, the best game to DM. Like, no question about it. And then Call of Cthulhu has been a lot of fun to play. I played D20 Call of Cthulhu a few years back. And it's on the channel if you want to go see it. It's one of my most watched live stream games. And I'll be honest. I wasn't that into it. And I thought it was because it's like supposed to be a horror game and I'm just not into the horror aspect. I think it was partially the system itself and that aspect. I'm playing Call of Cthulhu now. I played a one-shot of Call of Cthulhu with the Outsider 68 on this channel a while back. That game was really cool. I definitely recommend checking out that if you want to check out Call of Cthulhu. With that game, I realized that Call of Cthulhu does not have to be horror. It can just be a fun drama or suspenseful game. And if you play it that way and you're looking to tell a fun story with it or a certain narrative from a keeper standpoint, and you can tell an awesome story. To me, Call of Cthulhu is probably one of the best systems to do one-shots with. You can do so many different types of one-shots within that system and just have a blast with it. I say I will put it away later. No, there are stacks of books around the house. I have books here. I got books here. I got books there. I've got a lot of books right now on my table. I've quickly let this desk get out of control lately. It's really unfortunate because it was immaculate a week ago. I had nothing on this desk a week ago other than a flip mat. It seems like when we mini paint and I have to start shifting things over here, it all just goes to hell. That's what happens. Because then I bring over my camera, microphone. I end up having to DM a game over here, so then I bring over my initiative tracker. I still got the paints from the other day. I've got my snack from my game the other night. You know, dry roasted peanuts. You know, we've got the TV remote because I have my OBS showed up on the big screen. I've got pens and pencils. I've got my pad of paper so I can write things. I've got binders from different games I'm running. Because I don't ever put those away. Like, just so much stuff. So much. This is probably why my wife always tells me I need to get rid of stuff. I don't know. But yes, just tons of stuff. I got my dice tower, my dice tray, dice, more dice, more dice. Headphones, dry erase stuff, dry erase mats, tray, paint trays, my light box for taking pictures of miniatures that I have not started using yet. I'm going to do that in the next couple days. Just take a picture of all of the painted miniatures we've done that are complete. And then I'll upload those to things like Instagram. But yeah, it's chaos out here. So, you know. We started playing in-person games again. We will be doing that again in 2 weeks. That is not streamed, though. I don't have any in-person games that are streamed right now. The in-person games we had going on before have all become online games because we have added people who don't live locally. So, like Descent into Avernus started off as an in-person game. We lost Jake and Luke. We now have Bill Allen, who lives in Chicago. I live in Michigan. We also have Randall Hampton, who is local. He lives up in Rockford, Michigan. And we have Blackthorn Apothecary, who I forget where he lives. I don't even want to make an assumption. I feel like I don't remember, but I feel like he was in the East Coast somewhere. So that game is now an online game. Our BlackRock Adventures game was in person when we started that. But then Paul had to drop that game. He goes by Calist on Twitter and on the Discord. He hasn't been on Discord in a long time. But he dropped the game, and we ended up replacing him with my friend Tom and Laura, who live in Chicago. And love them to death. They've been awesome to have in that game. And yeah, I like to mix it up and bring new people into different campaigns. It's always fun. So as people drop, I'll sometimes ask somebody who I haven't played with or I'm not currently playing with if they want in. So yeah, that's what's going on there. What's up, Kelf? I haven't seen you in a minute. How are you doing? I'm just talking about various things. We've talked about controversial D&D topics on TikTok, and we've talked about, social media as a whole. We've talked about different game systems. I gave my opinion on Savage Worlds. I gave my opinion on Pathfinder 2nd Edition, D&D, all sorts of stuff, man. Oh, I was planning on talking about some world building stuff too. I haven't done that today. So I've added some stuff to my homebrew world. I haven't fleshed it out yet. I haven't fleshed out a lot of stuff in my world. I just right now have ideas. So I've added 2 things recently. And I don't have a name for either one. But I have a nation where magic is illegal. That is inspired by a TikTok user saying it would be so awesome to play in a setting like that. So I have a nation where there's magic stones across this nation that detect magic, and they send the message back to a master stone, which lights up with a specific color based on the type of magic, and the location that it lights up on the master stone tells the people watching it approximately where the magic was cast. So like if you have this stone, this master stone like this, and it's green over here, then you head that direction like a compass, and say it's nature magic. That's why it's green. And you go that direction, eventually you'll find the spot where it was that magic was cast. And that's how they start hunting the people who use the magic. Oh, excuse me. It's also inspired because I'm watching Merlin again on Netflix, and obviously in that it's magic is outlawed. So I was inspired by both of those things. The penalty for using magic is death. There's no mercy or leniency from the king of this nation. So that's the blurb I have for that spot of my world. Now, to counter that, I have started working on an idea for a highly advanced magical city. As of this moment, I'm just calling it the City of Enchantment. I don't have a real name for it yet. This city has a magical barrier preventing flying creatures and spells from coming over the tall stone walls. There are guards who are mages that focus on powering this shield to keep everything inside safe. There are also guards who can fly out and scout any potential incoming threats. Near the gates, there is also an anti-magic barrier preventing anyone from using their magic to break down the gates. It's the most well-guarded city in the known world. So those are the 2 things I've added recently to my homebrew world. And I'm pretty excited to flesh those out more. Not too bad. Just finished a session a few minutes ago. Oh, cool. What game system? How'd it go? Running my players through a necromancer's tower. Oh, that's cool. Got the barbarian down, and he has a -2 to his con score. Oh, wow. How? How does he have a -2? What are you throwing at him? What kind of undead? Like wraiths or something? Something drops con for good. I just don't remember what. I feel like it's a wraith. Homebrewed an item in the moment. Oh, it could be like a specter too, right? Homebrewed an item in the moment, a banana yellow potion that when poured out, it forms a ladder that has bananas at rungs, which can be pulled off as good berries. Okay, that is an interesting item. I kind of like that. May I toss in this idea? The magic is overpowered, and that is the reason why magic is illegal. Sure, that's fine. They might think that. And I agree that a campaign with outlawed magic would be interesting. I personally think that if magic existed, it would be highly regulated. 5e homebrew. Yeah, I think magic would definitely be highly regulated, for sure. I just don't know how you would regulate it, you know? I mean, you could regulate what spells are allowed to be taught, I guess. And maybe regulate, so, like, people, I guess it's like guns. It's kind of like forcing people to register guns. A lot of people don't want to do it right now in America. You know? By the way, if this is your first time here, please subscribe. Give us a like. We love getting those likes. Right now we have 4 likes, but 7 of you are watching. So that means 3 of you have not liked this yet. So I would love to see that number go up. Yeah, I don't know how you would regulate magic, though. That would be interesting to think about. It was an orb that would teleport them into another room where they had to break a crystal. The orb reduces con by 1 each time they use it. So -1 in and -1 out. Oh, I like that. It drains your life force so much in the teleport process. So do they gain their con back at all? Or is it gone for good? I kind of want to play with like the idea of permanent attribute drains. Victor says a fireball spell may destroy a whole city, even cause at the lowest level. Yeah, I mean, not a whole city. It's only like 40 feet. But I guess it could set a building on fire that could spread to more. For sure. For sure. After a long rest, they get it back. Okay, that makes sense. Do they get it all back or just 1 point? I like that idea. I had something not similar necessarily. I don't remember what it was, but I had I think it would teleport him to a random room in the dungeon. But the problem is, like, if you touched this, I think it was like a glowing pyramid thing. So if you touched it, you get teleported to another room in the dungeon randomly that I would roll for. If you end up in combat, though, there's no way to teleport back to it, though. So if you end up in combat by yourself, and then another player touches it and goes to another room, and they end up in combat by themselves with a different monster, it was brutal. You know? But it was cool. Both back. Okay, you're nicer than I am. I probably would have just done 1. It also deals 7 necro damage each time, which can't be healed until they rest. That makes sense. I like that. Oh, like the land makes it more powerful? That'd be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I think of that. I've been putting some stuff up for download with the Discord, or not Discord, Patreon. I need to do more write-ups. It's one thing I really want to do more of. Like, I thoroughly enjoy it. But I love doing world building. The problem is I'm not good at live streaming and world building at the same time. I feel like I try to think about things a little more usually when I start writing. And I never like what I'm writing. The orb is only available every 4 minutes. Oh. So once it's used, it can't be used again for 4 minutes. That's a long time in a 5e game. Like, if you teleported them to a room with that, where there's, like, monsters, they're in trouble, man. 4 minutes is so long. And the room they had to get the crystal from has 6 shadows and 2 ghosts. It's shadows. Yes. Once someone touches or breaks the crystal, they all attack. Yikes. What level is your party? Are they high level? Because for one character, that's tough. Or are you letting them all travel at once using the crystal? The room they had to get the crystal from has 6 shadows. Oh, yeah, I already read that. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I don't know about that. That might be too much for me. These books are driving me nuts right here. Just looking at the Savage Worlds books right next to me is driving me nuts. Yeah, I got a lot of money invested. I don't know why I spent so much money on this. I think I got so excited about the ideas that I was just like, yeah, I'm going to buy a bunch. And I sold a bunch of Palladium books so that I could buy these books right here. Not the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter. Actually, did I? I may have done it after the fact. I may have done it after, actually. With original Pathfinder, I got rid of some books by Palladium Books. And with D&D 5e, some of the books I bought that I used from selling Palladium Books. I also traded some Palladium Books for some stuff. Level 7. Yeah, they're getting up there a little. Only one person can teleport at once. Yikes. That's rough, man. Rough. I like it, though. I absolutely love that. I feel like I'm a ruthless DM. I always come up with things that are pretty killer. I'm always like, what can I do to really mess with my players right now? Like, that's a regular thing for me in my games where I'm like, I'm going to come up with something that maybe won't be, won't kill them, but it's going to really mess them up. We are 6 subscribers away from 3,800 subs. That's pretty awesome. We're getting pretty close. On TikTok, I think we're sitting at 1,040 now. Let me check that real quick. TikTok's amazing. I have a lot of fun on there. Oh, I'm sorry. We're at 1,136 on TikTok. I had 36 followers a month ago on TikTok. So we've been growing pretty quick over there. I've been having a ton of fun on TikTok. We've talked about what is this? Weapons and zombies. What system? Oh yeah, I'll follow him back. What are the topics we've talked about? We've talked about West March's campaigns. We've talked about sometimes being a DM sucks. I do a lot of video responses over there. Letting players show off. We've talked about should white people play people of color. Actually, I haven't talked about that, but I've asked the question and people gave me good answers. Talked about various game systems, such as the age system, D&D races, ancestries, settlements, and buildings, and how you should incorporate some of the racial features into the design of the cities and things like that. So if you have a flying race, they probably shouldn't have their homes on the ground, as an example. The moment the orb was good, the barbarian grabbed the crystal, took 6 attacks, leaving him with 2 HP. Yikes. He reached the orb, touched it, took the 7 damage, and teleported through the portal while downed. He was then healed on the other side as the ghosts moved through the walls to attack the party. Yeah, that's brutal, man. We talked about how frequently you give out magic items. How you handle charisma rolls. I showed off the Drakenstone tiles over there that I had set up. Talked about penalizing meta discussions at the table. And all these things I will be uploading to YouTube as shorts, by the way. So anything that was a minute or shorter, I will upload as shorts. And I actually am considering mining my own content over there to do longer videos over here. So again, we will do more videos. I love doing videos. The shadows reduce strength, and I thought I was going to get one up on the barbarian, but I forgot he has gauntlets of ogre power. Oh, so his strength is just 19. So his actual strength drops, but the gauntlets make him keep the same strength all the time. You know what? Having gauntlets of whatever strength, or a belt of giant strength, or whatever, or two of them at the start of a dungeon, and having shadows throughout the dungeon would be interesting. Especially if you have a party of players that is afraid to put on a magic item until they know what it is, and they have no way to identify it, because they're worried it's cursed. That would be amazing. You know what? You guys just gave me an idea for my Blackrock game this weekend. I'm going to use shadows. I'm going to insert shadows somewhere. But right before they encounter those, I'm going to have a magic item. And it's going to give them a lot of strength. I don't mind if my party becomes OP either. So that's the great thing. I'm totally doing it. Let me look. I think it's like Belt of Giant Strength. Is that what it is? Here it is. Belt of Giant Strength. So we have a barbarian in that game, and my wife is playing it. Now, they're, what level are they? 6 or 7, I think. I could give them Fire Giant Strength. That's a 27. Oh, no, that's a 25. 25 strength. Our monk take that, though, too. And our monk would wreck people with that. Should I do it? Should I give them the belt of Fire Giant Strength? Or is that mean? I mean, it's not mean, but it's going to make someone OP. I'm definitely thinking about doing that, though. I really like that. Gauntlets of Ogre Power. I like that so much. I might do both in the same room. Since we have two characters that benefit from it. I don't mind the +7. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm just going to make a note right now. And I'm going to go Gauntlets of Ogre Strength. Or Ogre Power. What was it? Ogre Power. Belt of Giant Strength. I like it. There's my notes. There's my prep notes already. Do it. Peter's like, do it. Yeah, I think giving them both would be cool. And then seeing which one wants what. So I could do a mannequin, but I think it's better to have dead adventurers. I always like having just bones that have these things. The shadows could be in the form of fallen giants of the past. So the dungeon they're going through is basically a lich is the one who set up this dungeon. Like he's taken over this dungeon. And the one player character is a warlock, and his pact is with this lich. So that's the story technically being told. And I've given him clues. He knows that he's basically fighting things that are pretty much due to his lich boss, his lich patron. So there's a chance by the end of this dungeon, he will be without a patron and stuck with no more magic. And it'll be interesting to see what he does there. I'm kind of excited about it. I've been having so much fun in the BlackRock game. And that's not even, like, this was a random thing where they went under, they were looking for a Thieves Guild, and it turned into this Under the Tavern. I was like, well, this doesn't work for the Thieves Guild, but it sure as hell works for this Lich. And so I'm going to have them go through this. I'm also giving them some story stuff that I've added at the end. I'm going to tie up my loose ends with this orb, this obsidian orb at the end, I think. I'll have to go through my notes again, but I've got all sorts of ideas. It's been awesome, though. Time to multi-class. So he could, or he could find a new patron, or he could replace the classes with something else. You know? Something like that. I don't know. I'm going to pose the question to the D&D community. If you have a warlock that's level 8 warlock, but at that point his pact with his patron is broken, what do you do with him? Like, what happens to him? All right, Kelf, take it easy, man. I'm wrapping up in a minute too, but yeah, I'm going to pose that question on D&D TikTok. I'm also going to pose that question, I think, on Twitter and maybe in a Facebook group or two, and just mine it for ideas. Because that's a very interesting thing I've never thought about. I've thought about, like, if a player character dies, letting them make a pact with a patron to, like, revive them. But now they serve a patron. Like, they have to take their next level for that warlock, and now they serve a patron. I've thought about doing stuff like that before. Because I thought that would be awesome. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of ways to do it. But I love giving magic items. It's one of my favorite things. I like rewarding my players. I also like giving my players items that are, like, limited use. Like, you can use it 3 times and then it's gone for good. So I've been thinking about giving a magical crystal sword that works, like, up to 5 times and then it doesn't work anymore. Or it has charges and it becomes more brittle every time it's charged, or a charge is spent. But it allows you to do, like, a maximum damage. And so then it'd be like, well, and you can declare it after, kind of like a smite. And so if they do a critical hit and then they decide max damage, boom, their longsword's doing, 16 damage plus modifier on that hit. But it spends a charge. And on the last charge, it explodes into tiny shards of glass. And maybe it hurts everybody within 5 feet of it or something. Because I think that would be awesome. I love the idea of just coming up with magic items too, like coming up with my own and tweaking existing ones. I like looking at Pinterest art, taking ideas, and reskinning them. Like, that's really fun to me. Really fun. So yeah, should we do Dragon Age Origins tomorrow night? Everyone on board with that? I think we should do that. I haven't played it in a little bit. I might have to re-get Xbox Game Pass, because when I thought my Xbox was down for good, I canceled my subscription to it. So I might re-get that and do that. We could also do some Skyrim and stuff, but I think I'm going to hold off on that until I beat at least Origins. I'm going to play Dragon Age 2 again as well once I do Origins. Dragon Age 2 is my least favorite of the Dragon Age games, but Inquisition is awesome, and I'm excited to get into that again. That's my favorite Dragon Age game so far, is Inquisition. I like the story. I like the open world. I like the variety of stories within the game. I like that if I'm feeling a certain way, I can do this map and in the open world over here. If I'm feeling a other kind of way, I go over in this part of the map and do what I need to do. Love that stuff. Absolutely love it. I also need to play some more MLB The Show this week. I'll be doing that on my other channel, my sports channel. If you go into this channel, if you click on it and go down to the bottom, you can see I've got other YouTube channels. So if you guys want to check those out, you can. I've got a wrestling one I don't do squat with. Might start streaming some TEW on that. It's a text-based game, so there's nothing to see. But it's a fantasy booking text simulator. Or fantasy booking simulator. It's all text-based. I've got fictional stuff. I've got real-world mods. So, yeah. And I love wrestling, so that's an easy game to play. But yeah, and I play MLB The Show over on the sports channel, so we'll get back to doing that. I'm starting to play ranked game against people online. I have a whole team built with Detroit Tigers players, and I am just going to play ranked with Detroit Tigers. Like legendary players, and like Justin Verlander postseason, and Miguel Cabrera All-Star, and a bunch of guys who are nobodies that are currently on the team, and just having some fun playing against people with their stacked 99 rated squads. That's gonna be fun. Right now I'm 1-1 in ranked play, so I'm not as bad as I thought I would be. In fact, I mercied the first guy I played. I won 11-0, so that was a good time. I'm sure when football season starts, we'll do some Madden. Maybe we'll play some NCAA football. As Michigan, that'll be a good time as well. Yeah, I don't know. I do a lot of stuff. Not just this channel. TikTok, I do a video every day. Sometimes multiple. I could do those on YouTube, though. The fact that you can basically do video responses on TikTok is really appealing to me. YouTube used to have it, and they got rid of it, and that's a bummer. That's one of the big appeals of TikTok to me, is that you can, it's called stitches, and you basically can watch a video, and if they have stitches on, you can then, take 5 seconds of their clip to start yours, and it'll pose their question, like, what do you think of fighters? And then you can do a whole 1-minute video or 3-minute video about what you think about fighters. It's great. There is a lot of drama over there, though. But it's not hard to avoid it. You just keep posing your questions. So again, I'm going to talk about that warlock thing over there and see what people say. I think it's going to be interesting. Hopefully people stitch it. So anyways, guys, I'm going to end the stream there. It's been fun hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow night with some Dragon Age Origins. We will also do an interview on Thursday with the creator of Peace the RPG. Tuesday, we have Dragon Age, the tabletop RPG with Draven Swiftbow. But yeah, Friday is a one-shot with Le Top Hat and some other TikTok creators. That's going to be awesome. It's a level 15 game. I am not playing. I'm just hosting the stream. Saturday, Blackrock Adventures. And then, yeah, that's it. So with that, guys, thanks you guys for watching. This was Master the Game. I am Juice. Game on.